Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and undetermined others. Welcome back to the Alliance Tournament. And today we are going to be watching Out of Sight. It must be jelly because jam don't shake. And we've got two very interesting comps here being brought by both teams. Why don't you take us through this It Must Be Jelly because jam don't shake comp reload?
Okay then, they have brought a Golem, Bull Navy Raven, a Scimitar, a Bifrost, two Caracals, and two Shield Daredevils. This comp is very unorthodox to say the least. Triple Battleship Core, a Golem, Navy Ravens. This is some stuff that hasn't happened in this entire tournament. Well, not in this entire tournament. This tournament, yeah, definitely. Bringing a Marauder, Navy battleships, and the Bifrost and Caracals. The Caracals are pretty good. The Shield Daredevils can be interesting. The Caracals are pretty fine, but I don't know. This is a very strange comp. What's Out of Sight bringing, Jim?
Out of Sight have something kind of like those Cerberuses speak to me of as an RLML all-in comp, but then they've also brought healers and Vexor navies. So this looks to be some sort of very bizarre all-in comp based around the DPS that those underpointed Vexor Navy issues can bring. Because we really can't underestimate just how powerful the Vexor Navy issue is. 9 points, and it's doing battleship level DPS with a okay tank. It's not great, but it's good enough. So what we're going to have to see here is simply, can It Must Be Jelly use those rapid heavies? And I think those are rapid heavy fit, although I am not confident enough with my missile systems to tell. Take out that Scimitar and a couple of DPS ships before they go into reload.
We'll see. And I'm looking at the Golem and the Raven navies. They're actually crews. They are crews Golem and a cruise Navy Raven. I have a feeling that this Golem is going to be more of a support role. He's got target painters. He does have a target painting bonus. Matches up in 30 seconds. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen here. I think this Must Be Jelly because Jam Don't Shake team is going to be a cruise kiting comp, while I've started bringing a sort of more traditional setup with double Gila, double Serve, and Skimmy with some web support, while bringing Shield Reanize, a Bifrost, which is sort of standard, and the Maulers. Match is about to go. Who do you think Out of Sight is going to prime you first, Jen?
I think Out of Sight has to go for those Daredevils. I think their Serbs are just going to go straight on them, and from that, they're going to have to go right for the Caracals after that. Just take off as much damage from the field as they possibly can, and try and save that Scimitar from being tackled. You can see there, he's... Oh my god, it looks like that Scimitar has turned his MWD off. He's slowed right down. What is this?
Absolutely, but it doesn't matter anyway, because the Devil just got instantly nuked by those Out of Sight Cerberuses, Gilas, but the Scimitar is actually taking quite a lot of damage. He's not moving. He's not moving very fast. He's going 320 ms. That's definitely like a warp drive speed, and he is dipping quite he's dipping quite a lot. He does have some charges left. He's probably got 6 or 7. Meanwhile, Caracal's also taking quite a lot of damage as well from the Jelly team. Caracal's entering armor, but can they actually trade this Skimmy? I'll be quite surprised if they do, to be honest. If they kill this Skimmy for a Caracal, that's definitely worth it.
Yeah, the real question here is why don't those Cerberuses and that Hugin have rep drones? Rep drones would be doing so much to keep this Scimitar alive. I think Out of Sight have made a good call here, though, not using their MWD. They recognize those Navy Ravens and that Golem that's going to be able to hit that Scimitar no matter where it sits in the arena. That's very intelligent because it's stopping them from getting that micro warp drive Sig Bloom that would make them significantly easier to hit. Still, looks like It Must Be Jelly has, just after the ASB charges ran out and that Scimitar switched to the healer of Moxic. That's a critical mistake there from It Must Be Jelly. I feel like they should have kept the damage going there. They're already 3 ships down. They've already committed a lot to that kill. Why didn't they follow through?
I don't know. That Skimmy must be pretty low on charges at this point. You've probably got maybe 3 or 4 left, and he was taking quite a lot of damage. Oh, he's speeding up now. He is going 2.5k. Actually turning on his micro warp drive because he knows he's not being primary. Second Caracal down now for Jelly. They've lost their entire support, and their Skimmy that they were originally going to trade for is still not dead. While their Skimmy, the Skimmy on Jelly's side is also taking damage. He's webbed. target painted, and he's being jammed as well, most likely from ECM drones. Yeah, definitely from ECM drones, and he is taking damage now, and they're going for that Hugin now. That's an interesting choice. Maybe they want to try and peel the Skimmy from those Gila and Subwebs, but at this point they may as well just all in a Skimmy and see how much damage they can do right now. They still have all of their damage, pretty much. They still have their 2 Navy Ravens and a Golem, but their Skimmy's taking a lot of damage. Just go for the Skimmy. He's probably on reload right now.
Yeah, and you can just see how powerful these based healer-based sort of compositions are, though. Look at how much better they're applying their damage to that Scimitar, despite having a smaller attack bar. It's gone down, and that just takes a lot of the chances that It Must Be Jelly have in this match. You know, things have gone poorly. They made a bad call. They could have recovered it, but I think now that that Scimitar has gone down, and you can see here their boosts being wiped off the field mercilessly. Those RLMLs and those medium drones just applying so well.
Absolutely, and I don't know if it was a graphics glitch or bug, but I do see these Raven Navies and Golem capacity transferring to the Bifrost. And
Yeah,
smart
and that's
bombs
a-
as well.
that's a
Oh
part of
wow,
the-
that's a lot of smart bombs.
Yeah, that is a lot of smart bombs. Holy shit.
Yeah, absolutely, and it does look like they did destroyed all their drones, those Gila drones, those Vexa Navy issue drones, which are kind of important. Remember, Vexa Navy issues only get, they don't even get a spare set of drones at this point, but it does look like it's too little too late. Raven Navy issue going down now, dying to those Cerberus Rapid Lights and those Vexa Navy issues, and he's down and pretty much clean up at this point for Out of Sight. I'm gonna say this was quite both interesting comps on either side. Bringing Shield Vexa Navy issues is brave to say the least, considering how much little tank they have anyway.
Yeah, maybe they were very used to ratting in Haven, perhaps, and thought that the same fits would work. And here it looks like they have. Still, I've got to say, I'm surprised that those the energy transfers that we saw from It Must Be Jelly weren't being applied to their Scimitar. If their Scimitar was perhaps Tinker Tank, I think this team would have made a lot more sense. And you know, the energy transfers are something that's new for this Alliance tournament. Do you want to talk a little bit about how that's going to affect the tournament, in your opinion, Reload?
Absolutely. Tinkers are where you can actually have capacitor transfers on, your battleships or, on any ship basically, but you're only allowed 1, so you can't have 4 capacitor transfers on your Golem, for example. You're only allowed 1 per ship. Basically, what you can do is you can have, I think it works better with Atanas, Tengus, and Basilisks mostly, where you can capacitor transfer to those ships, and they can run their extra large ASB or their shield booster forever. And for this meta, I mean, T2 drones are back. I think it's a tough choice. I mean, you can have a very static team that can have a really strong core, or you just run like a standard comp. So it's pretty, it's a dice roll, really. I personally have no idea. I think Tinkers were pretty oppressive back in 80-13 and 80-12, but I don't think they're going to be as oppressive now, but I still think they're going to be pretty strong if executed perfectly.
Yeah, and on the other side of this Arena 2, we're basically watching the dying gasp of I think that is Pixels. Yes, that is Pixels dying to Pen is out.
Yeah, from this team, Pen is out, absolutely just destroyed. It's only Pixels, unfortunately. They only have their 2 Deacons, and we'll go back to Outside versus Jelly, and the Golem is just slowly dying at this point. He still does have a shield boost bonus, but he doesn't get the Super Marauder, because the Bastion module is banned for this Alliance tournament, because Marauders would be a bit too strong. Considering the last couple of Alliance tournaments ago, Marauders can take an entire enemy team out, and Out of Sight take it 100-0, and we're gonna send it back to the studio.
Absolutely 100 hands.
is a union of powerful mega-corporations. Have brought its people both misery and triumph.
Hey guys, welcome back. Another great match to watch there. Our first two Shield comps of the day, pretty exciting. And we do have some instant replay action here for you that we're going to bring up. From the very beginning of the match here, we can see the two Daredevils overheat their prop mods, going 5k a second, right out of rep range and right into blap range of those rapid light ships. It was not possibly the best decision they've ever made. We see the first one pop there, go down, the second one trailing a little bit behind as the out of sight team get up to speed to kite away. But those Daredevils just flying straight out of rep range. Brett, do you want to give us a little bit of a talk about how rep range works with the changes that came through? I think it was just over a year ago that the changes to rep ranges came in.
Yeah, they split the logistics rep units, which is the armor and the shield transfer, into two halves. Then what they did is they gave it a optimal and a fall off. So the optimal is at what range you do 100% of your reps, the same as normal as you used to. But what they've done is they've added a fall off range. So for armor in say like Neuros, it's something maybe 40 to 50, well, high 50s to 60 is your optimal. That's the point where you're doing 100%. It has an immediate and short fall off. So from 50 to 60, at 60k, you're doing 50%, and then at like 72k, you're doing nothing at all. The way they've done it with Shield is they've done a shorter optimal. So at say like 30k, you're doing 100%, and then you have something like 20 to 25 kilometers where you have fall off, which means a Shield, say Scimitar, can rep at that 70 km range. It could rep only something maybe like 12% of its actual full power reps, but it can still rep. Unfortunately, as those Daredevils were burning out, they were just getting less and less percentage of reps and got alphaed.
Now, Ithaca, we, again, as we mentioned, seen our first two Shield comps of the day, with Rapid Lights being a archetype that we do expect to see during the tournament. Personally, I wasn't necessarily as big a fan of how they were run in this case, but what are your thoughts on how one flies Rapid Light comps and how these teams did with the Rapid Lights?
So Rapid Light comps, it's really important to make sure you get the maximum burst from them. So whenever your ships are going to be hitting reload, you need to make sure you coordinate that. There's going to be a large period where you're putting out essentially no damage at all. And you need to make sure that as your ships come through that reload period, they all start applying at the same time. You don't want to drip damage in piecemeal and allow the other enemy logistics to get a chance to rep up the ships you're shooting. Now, you really don't want to get anything tackled in a kiting Rapid Light comp, which is why they rightfully went for those two Daredevils immediately. It's the primer you got to go for. You got to shed those 90% webs. And I mean, although Daredevils are 2 points, that's lovely, but you're kind of shoehorning them into a Shield comp, and they are primarily armor frigates.
They did hand up those Daredevils on a silver platter.
Yeah, they said, you know what, we don't need these, we don't want them, please take them away from us.
So we're actually going to bring up another graphic now of the bans so far in AT15 coming up here now. Scimitar being the highest ban thus far with 5 bans, the Basilisk at 4, so people really not wanting to face Shield teams thus far with the drones and the NBC core, possibly because they know they're bringing armor, they want to eliminate the strongest Shield teams and keep their team as strong as possible. Then we see the Guardian as a big ban, surprisingly. The Guardian's been banned more than the Aneros, I believe, yet Guardian's been banned one more time than the Aneros, though the Aneros is actually considered the stronger ship, which is a little strange. Then we got the Blackbird banned, fear of ECM, of course. Armageddon over Balgorn. People are afraid of neuting, but are aware that you can't ban out flagships. We've got the Gila, going to be very strong this year with T2 drones, and then the bans the rest of the way down, going down through to the NBC cores. But interestingly, we have a ban on the Guardian Vexor. Possibly a misclick. Somebody was searching for Vexor, perhaps. But for those who are unaware, the Guardian Vexor is, aside from the original AT prize ships from the first couple of ATs, the Tribal Tempest and what have you, possibly one of the rarest ships in the game. Only something like 6 are known of left in existence, or maybe in the low teens. It's a crazy, crazy drone boat, but certainly one that would be a massive shock, possibly even more of a shock from the Raven State we saw last year, to see a Guardian Vexor in the AT.
I mean, the Guardian Vexor also is complete and utter garbage, so you really would not want to
that as
bring
well.
it.
Still, we must talk about, as it's arriving very shortly, the next match coming up. It's going to be the Ronin versus Team Skill. Team Skill coming in here against the Ronin. Now, the Ronin were one of my favourite teams last year because they had their own meta. They brought in the Logifrigs. They were the only team who would really learn, I feel, how to execute them properly, fly them properly. I think the Logifrigs require a much higher skill ceiling than a regular T2 logistics, just because... if only because your rep range is so short and you also have a pair of logistics that need to work together, and they can be so easy to control with long range reps and give them that short rep range. But Ronin did a fantastic job bringing them. I actually worked with Lilu Killick to write a little article about them on Crossing Zebras, which was really fun to write and learn about what the Ronin did there. Do you think that Ronin are going to keep up with that Logifrig trend, or do you think they're going to back off of it after the last tournament? Do I get to see Logifrigs, Ithaca?
I hope so. I really like Logifrig comps. They're not exactly the most. I mean, I prefer, if I was going to fly them, I'd prefer to fly it with, say, Nerneros rather than two Logifrigs. However, they're exciting to watch. As you say, you're risky. You've got two of them. They've got to work together as a team to provide reps. And if they do it and they fly it well, it can be done just it can be so effective that you can just. Good pilots can fly it well, and this may sound stupid, but bad pilots will just go nowhere with Logifrigs.
It's perhaps a binary thing with Logifrig teams. Like, either you manage to catch them and they just fall to pieces immediately, or they manage to stay alive and they actually do okay. One of the interesting things about Logifrig teams is that with an armor Logi, you have that ancillary repper that will eventually run out and slow down the rep power. With the shield reps, you typically have an XL ISB. When you run out of charges, you start struggling. Logifrigs, if they manage to stay alive in the first part of the match, they are just as strong as they were the entire time. They'll keep pumping out reps. Their rep output with 3 small reppers is the same as one T2 logistics cruiser with 2 large stream meters. Now, Brett, I saw you shaking your head when you said when we were talking about Logifrigs. Are you not a fan? Do you not think we're going to see them?
No, I think in the current meta, you're flipping a coin. Because if you go against any drone comp, the logistic frigates are dying in a fire to anything with 5 small drones. But if you go against the battle cruiser comp, if you manage to keep them alive and keep them away from the daredevils, they're never going to be shot. They've got too small of a sig, they'll go too fast and they'll die.
Yeah, well, let's find out as we go into this match. It's going to be the Ronin versus Team Skill.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am moderator, joined by Rilo.